he can smell the fear. All right, dude. We are live and in color.
Color we are.
Color we are. So I wanted to first say thanks for deciding to hop on this evening.
Yeah.
So I think that it goes without saying that probably the first question we have to get out of the way or to discuss is, how did we get here?
Well, you asked and I answered. No, it's there's this, I don't know, people want to think that there's this giant rift or beef or whatever bullshit there is, and I don't feel it the way maybe some others feel it. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing against you, Jason. Honest to God, I don't. So.
Right. And yeah, I think that, for me, and I'm sure it is for other people, but, a lot of it's behind the scenes things that are in different camps. And I take responsibility for, the things I say. I'm not trying to push that off on anybody, whatever. But I also want to, hey, what's up, Mike, Mike White, Snoop, Alex, what's up? But I think that both of us seem to find the humor in some of the things that happen in and around the situations that we find ourselves in. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like when I go to your channel and, you obviously talk about some of the shenanigans you're dealing with, it might not even have zero to do with me. You just kind of have to laugh about it and just realize some of the absurdity of it all.
None of it has to do with you. It's
right. And then, like, for me, a lot of it is, no one's ever going to agree on everything. That just goes without saying. That's the reality of it. But I do find it to be interesting that every time there's a little bit of a momentum in getting things to get over the hump, there's something that comes up in a situation where you're like, what happened? It's like the 2 steps forward or 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing, And
well, this year was the most or the least drama there had been, in any of the years. And it's still not bad. I mean, believe me, it's been worse. Let me tell you.
Right. Well, and like I said, I think everybody who's gonna be watching this either live or later or whatnot will know that that on my part, for 2021, there was nothing on my end that was anywhere near compared to the previous years. Like, so my video I did, which I thought was tongue in cheek, I was even making fun of myself saying, I'm not worthy and all this kind of stuff. If anybody watched the video, but I think the whole thing was like, trying to make light of the situation and trying to be like, you're going to pay for all of us to come hang out on the ranch. I was hoping that would happen. You throw it out there, you never know.
I know.
So
that made me chuckle out loud. That made me chuckle.
Right. Well, I hope so, because I mean, if anybody comes to my channel, we all know that I rarely take much serious. I think that's how I can keep on moving forward, and that very much really affects me in any kind of way, because I don't take anything serious, really. Definitely not YouTube. But and I will say that everything I thought was going swimmingly, and then the thing happened with Garrett, Card Cutter, and that caught me off guard out of the blue. Like I had, completely unaware of it. And I will say that he was a stand-up dude. I want to say this publicly. I don't even know if Mike knows this, and maybe you do, but he contacted me privately, and we talked on the phone, kind of like what Mike and I do. We're having our conversation live, so this could go sideways for either one of us. We didn't do this privately, really, but with Garrett, he contacted me privately, and he said his piece. We talked, and everything was kosher. I have zero interest to move in a negative way. He did, I thought, the most responsible adult thing we could do. It's all good. Mike and I had to send, the reason why people might be asking right now why Mike and I are talking at this moment. So yesterday, one of the guys we're friends with created this like goofy little meme or whatever you want to call it, a little picture, like little like, you know, copy and paste job where
which I thought was
where
hilarious.
it shows me with a fanny pack on and Mike like as like this like proper like business guy with our heads cut out and put our heads on these bodies. And he's like shaking my hand and I'm like sitting on the desk with my fanny pack. And I sent that to him and said something like, "Hey, don't deny the inevitable. I'm coming," or whatever, something along those lines. And it kind of got the ball rolling. We talked this morning, maybe 20 minutes off and on through text, you know, and here we are. But I think that for me personally, now you probably feel the same way that, you know, a lot of it can be hashed out by just talking to one another. You know what I'm saying? Like, figure it out, get it over with and move on. I know you mentioned it yesterday or today that a lot of times when you meet people face to face, you know, it's a totally different experience and you can kind of bury the hatchet if there is one to bury and move forward. I mean, what would you say?
Well, sure. I mean, what's funny is I think people look for the differences and they don't look for the common ground too often. That's just life, right? That's not necessarily just YouTube, but I think there's more common ground with our community among all the collectors, whether they collect football or basketball or, you know, we all have guys we respect and like watching their videos. And I don't have any interest in buying a single card that they show, but I like the way they show it, the knowledge, the whatever, the personality, you name it. There's all kinds of things that go into that. What's up, Chico's Cuban?
Hey, what up, guys? Yeah, I'm sorry I'm not doing a lot of like interjecting with the comments right now, but we noticed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Mike. Sorry.
No, it's okay. This is a great venue to do this because I've been wanting to do a video about it, but I didn't know how to do it. But this will be a great place to do it. And maybe it'll clear up some things for some people just because when I first did this 3 years ago, I was a relatively small, like I wasn't I was just a dude doing videos, you know, and it was meant to be, it was a 700 subs contest. And I was like, this was what, 3 years ago, you know, this is the 4th year. So 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I want to learn about all these other channels. I hear people talking and shouting out other channels of the OG guys, like the Puff Bear 359 and the, you know, AR Falk and all these guys. I'm like, I want to learn more about these channels. I want to hear, like, I think Hall of Fame, and I think like greatest channels of all time. So that was the impetus of this idea that, again, soon got turned into, I think we all have recency bias, and that's just natural that we have recency bias, that we think of who's doing stuff now and who are the people I'm watching now. And I've heard people that voted that said, well, I'm not voting for that person because they don't make content anymore. And I went, well, does that mean they weren't great? Like, you know, Adrian Beltre or any Hall of Famer in any sport hasn't played that sport for any number of years by the time they get elected to the Hall of Fame. Not that, again, people think I care who people vote for, whoever you want. Like, I really genuinely don't care. I'm going to count the votes, and it's that simple. But I guess my public service announcement is, the point was to think of greatest channels of all time. And sadly, Jason, you are unique, and I will give you significant props for what you do, because I know that you do this because you did it on my channel. And when you discover someone new that you kind of dig, you go back and watch literally A to Z every video, and you'll make comments, and that is impressive. And it shows, okay, I'm going to go learn it. Like, I hear about someone, I go watch a video. Okay, I like what they do. You invest into that channel, you invest into that person, and not many people do that, Jason. We know that, right? I mean, that's just, and not that that's even bad. How can you do? I mean, that's hard to do for some people if they've been around a long time or whatever, but you do that. Oh, shoot.
Yo, how's everybody doing?
Now it's on.
You guys behaving?
Of course. So I don't even know where my point was going. Bob Lewis's gorgeousness just took my mind completely off my thought.
Uh-huh. I'm working my way up to the card room here.
Okay. Jason, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it looked like you were both.
Yeah, it's coming back, baby. It's coming back. I'm bringing it back, yo.
So let me finish my point, and then we can talk about whatever you want. But I think part of the problem of creating this was self-inflicted. You know, when I said 1 year, I didn't think beyond in terms of requirements for video doing or whatever. I never even thought about doing it a second. I just thought it was a one-time thing. And so it never even occurred to me to either make the requirements more stringent or whatever. I honestly didn't think ahead that way. Well, then it happened. And then it's like, well, can you change it now? Probably not, because people will take it and think I'm trying to do it to manipulate it some way to help one group or another.
Win, dude.
Yeah, you can't win. And so I was like, well, just keep it going. Is this the gay rodeo? Yes, it is, Dustin. You're invited, by the way. Come on in. So it just kind of stayed that way. So that's the way it is. You know, I didn't feel like changing it, or, you know, and some people, oh, you can't let in 10 channels a year by, you know, it'll dilute it. There'll be too many people in, you know, oh, bye, Bob, go do whatever you got to do.
We're going to watch Bob smack around a kid.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, why shouldn't, I mean, I just felt like not changing it. Like, just make it the same. And it is what it is. So that's just some background that I think a lot of the newer guys that come in and just see the controversy or they hear whatever, first of all, they don't know the whole story. And second of all, they don't know the whole story. They haven't gone back and watched literally the original video where I announced this thing, where I was literally just kind of pulling something completely out of my ass as an idea. And here we are. So
Here we are.
And it'll take a miracle, Jason, for you not to get in this year, by the way. Like, meaning there would have to be significant votes for a bunch of other people. And that's just hard to imagine at this point. We got, what, 3 days?
Alert.
So I will be shaking your hand.
I mean, I can speak for myself. I don't know. I'm sure we all can say this, especially you, Mike, who sees it every video or whatever. But I think one of the most humbling things is that there are channels that you may not even watch that religiously, but they think enough about you or what you're doing that they shout you out in a Hall of Fame video, you know, submission or whatnot. And I think that's so cool when you come across somebody's channel and they, you know, they say, you know, Zombie Collector or Bob Lewis or Baseball Collector or whatever, whenever those times come, because, you know, you may not even interact with them that much, or you might just, you know, they might even interact with you that much, but they say, you know, hey, I like this channel. You know, they might be that guy that just hits the thumbs up button or gives you that view. They don't really interact. You don't know that much. And I think that's the cool thing for me over the last few years is when I go back and look at some people that are like, hey, so-and-so gave you a shout out. I'm like, wow. You don't even realize sometimes how impactful you are, maybe what you're doing to so many different people. You know, you just kind of do your thing and you don't think much about it until you have those interactions with people, or people say, hey, out of all the people online right now on YouTube doing this, I think you're one of the guys I like the most. And I think it's a pretty humbling experience, to say the least.
Well, there's two sides of that, right? There's the getting someone to say your name, and Bob felt this last year. Bob got a ton of votes last year, deservedly so. And when someone thinks you're one of the best ones out there, that's an awesome feeling. So it helps. It helps is a weird word. It's just humbling, and you're honored that they would think of you with all the sea of channels that are out there. And when you're doing your ballot and you get to go, look, it's fun. It's hard to come up down to 10, but it's fun to say, here are the dudes that I think are the best, you know, and it works. I think it's just a two-way street. And, you know, it gives, I hear all the positive. It's 98% positive, quite frankly. and it's people that tell me privately, man, I found all these new channels, and are you going double time? You're up there twice, Jason.
What? Okay.
Yeah, go. Yeah, cancel that first one at the bottom. Click on them and remove them from the stream.
Well, he can sit there and watch if he wants. That other Jason.
It really sounded like you were talking through a funnel or a jug for a second there.
It really did, Jason. I didn't want to say it. It really did.
Is it better now?
It is better now, yes.
Okay.
But you know, to get to do a ballot, to shout out some channels and people discovering other channels through this. I mean, I've heard it time and time again. That is the point. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the point. And again, most people are, this is a good idea for the community. This is great. This is good. It's when there's that, it's like you got a swimming pool and you put one little drop of pee in it. It just contaminated the whole pool, even though it's, well, not for Bobby.
How big's the pool? I mean,
right.
Come on, one drop of pee in a big pool. I mean,
come on.
Okay. Maybe like after an all night drinking in that first morning pee, like, okay, I wouldn't swim in that pool. But one drop,
you'd still drink it.
I'm sure one or two drops come out every time I go swimming. I'm sure it happens.
That's like Waterworld with Kevin Costner.
When you pee.
Yeah, do you ever? My dad always, I think it was like W.C. Fields that used to do like real dry jokes about like he doesn't go swimming in the ocean because fish have sex in it.
Bob, your cardboard podcast today or last night, whenever you released it, was awesome.
Yeah, that was fun, man. It's tough to talk about regrets or just like things that you wish you could have back type of thing, but it's all good. Am I frozen right now?
No.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm not moving on my camera, but oh well. Yeah, thanks, man. That felt good to do that. I got some videos to catch up on to make, but
did Mark tell you about our idea? Me and Mark's idea? Our parody song.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did we talk about it too?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking
about. Not the national one. We're gonna do the national one later. This is the new one.
Then maybe not. No, I don't know the new one.
All right. Well, I can't divulge it here, but it'll be
okay. Hey, I'm gonna leave and come back, Jay. Hold on one sec. Make sure you get me back in.
Bye.
Okay.
But do you understand, Jason? Like that was kind of the original point, and again, most people do it that way. They think of it that way, right? But
right.
A few don't, and I can't change.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
I think that. Are you hear me twice?
Just one.
Okay. So I think where a lot of people have the issues, and I'm sure you already know this, but it seemed like I mean, all these people were commenting. It's hard for me to keep focused, but so I think where the issues have been is that from starting it out, which I understand, I caught the beginning of when you started this whole thing because I came in on November of 2017. You started in November. You started in 2018, correct?
The Hall of Fame, yes.
Okay. All right. Hold on, Bob's trying to get back in.
I'm here. Continue, Joe. Yeah, I don't want to interrupt the flow.
All right.
I can go some okay? With that. Yes.
All right. But I think what people pull from the original issues were that there was some moving of the goalpost. And I think you already know that. It's not a surprise to you to hear this at this point now. And I think people, including myself, had like you said, that was when the pee hit the pool. And a lot of people weren't able to move forward from it, taking it from a fun thing into something that felt like it was a good old boys club. And
But
I know that, you know, it's a perception and people can feel what they want and all that. But it was like, the perception again was, who can I get in my special club on my buddies? And there was multiple times where you would say, well, I wish I could get this guy in. He just have to wait a year, you know, and there was comments like that. And I mean, I think that's where people got to be like, it should just be who people think should get in,
So
regardless of what you might think it
Mike's
is or
in
not.
Mike's in the unfortunate position of like being the guy who created the contest,
Right.
and therefore any opinion or like he's still allowed like to separate himself as that guy who created it to be a baseball collector, to like put out his votes and do his things and root for his friends, and like he can't help it that there might be some influence there just because his channel has a big reach.
Sure.
You'd want your friends to be in. I mean, you would, but it's just it not a good look. People don't stick around long enough to like kind of get more a wider scope of like the full picture. You know, they just kind of jump in and be like, oh, this, you know, I don't need to defend Mike, and you know, nobody asked for my opinion right now anyway, so I'll just shut up.
No, I appreciate it. But
yeah,
I think,
hold on,
I
Jason.
think a lot of people at the end of the day, go ahead.
No, it's I never thought about it that way, Bob, but seriously, like, I'm not unbiased in this. I wish I could say I am. I'm not. I mean, I have my votes of people that I vote for, and so does everybody else. And they're biased on their opinions. The passion that people say who they're voting for it's fun to watch. It's cool to see, dude, I really think, you know, so-and-so should be in. Like, the fact that he's not is a travesty or whatever. You know, they really get into it. Well, I feel the same way about my 10 votes as they do. But I'm also having to play this role of accumulator of votes and, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm seen as this, like, I have to, you know, remove myself from the process. And
you have to be above reproach, Mike.
Well, failed miserably then. I fail miserably.
Right.
Go ahead, Jay. You had a comment, Jason. I'm sorry.
No, I just think that, and I agree with what you're saying, is that, you know, no one should be voting for people that they don't like or they don't watch. I mean, that makes no sense. I think that if you say that, you're ridiculous. You know, you're just making something up. I think the problem that stemmed from a year ago or 2 years ago, whenever it happened, was you know, don't vote for your friends, because that's not what this is about. But then you vote for your friends, and I think that's where the meltdown began, at least for me, really.
Sure.
Because you can't help yourself. You're gonna vote for the people you like. And
let me clarify that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's important to clarify, and you're right. I did say that, but it was more of a encouragement to think, maybe just think beyond. If you end up voting for your friends, fine, I don't care. But it was an encouragement to, hey, go beyond maybe your little niche of the community that you hang with. And we're all going to have that, right? We're all going to have people that we just get along with better than others. And there's a clicking, you know, you click together and you just get along. And you said it at the very beginning, Jay, not everybody's going to agree on everything. A guy that thinks Peyton Manning's the best and someone else thinks Tom Brady's the best, you know, or whatever. Like, they're not going to ever agree on that. And there's nothing wrong. You can disagree and still have respect. The way I handled it was not very respectful. And that's where I made a mistake. And I admitted to it. And I should have handled it better, and just trying to be just a nudge and like, hey, maybe think outside of your circle of whoever it is that you hang out with. Not required. There's no requirement that you have to do that or anything. It's just, I had one guy this year that voted for one person already. He just voted for one person. I'm like, okay. I texted him. I'm like, you can vote for 10. He's like, nope, just one. I'm I'm like, okay,
He took the baseball Hall of Fame approach.
He did. That would have been zero. Bob, are you turning in a blank ballot this year, or what? Are you?
No, it's coming. I had to think of, I had to at least give it some time to think of a way to do it in a Bob Lewis kind of way. So I've got it all laid out. I just have to turn the camera on and do it.
So that just means none of us are going to understand it if you're going to do it in a Bob Lewis.
No. It's Jason kind of it's kind of a take on Jason. He showed movies. I'm going to show something else to like represent each channel that I pick.
Well, no spoilers. Just
there will be no spoilers.
So this is a question maybe, Mike, you've never been asked before. Maybe you have, but you obviously this is your 4th year doing this. So you've seen hundreds of videos at this point, correct? Is there any one or a few guys that really stand out to you who did a really great presentation over the years that you thought, wow, this is a Hall of Fame worthy video?
Oh man, there have been some really creative ballots. Last year there was one that blew me away, and I'm having a problem remembering. Last year there were 149 ballots, by the way, all video responses. This year we're at like Sean. I just watched Sean's. Tiford just did his. Eric did his. Andy did his, and I'm already forgetting. They just all kind of scrambled together, Jason, which may not sound great, but it's just the reality of it. There have been some incredibly creative, well done ballots over the years, and it's always fun to see how somebody's going to do it. Some people literally just list the names. I like it better when people talk about him, and this is why I'm voting. I like hearing those stories. I like hearing that. People say, "Oh, don't you wish it was just in the comments or the description and you could just move on?" And I'm like, "No, I watch the whole thing all the time." And that's, I don't know. That's just how I've chosen to do it. I don't want to take the easy, not that it's not, sometimes it's a grind, honestly, but
dude, it's funny. Like when I did my first contest way back, like I did a question where it was like, where do you see the direction of your collection going? Like how do you kind of reel it in and sort of focus on something specific? And then I got some real like heartfelt video responses, some like 15, 20 minutes long. And like, you've put it out there, so you're going to take the time that they took, to watch it. So to make it, it's just what you should do, I think. And you do that. I mean, geez, you go back to the first freaking video and watch them all,
Yeah, you kind of owe it. You feel like you owe it to them.
Yeah. To
do that. That's just respectful. And I'm not going to lie. I like it when they're a little bit shorter, but I can't,
sure.
It is what it is. So I literally watch every video and watch the whole thing, and I enjoy it. I wish I could. I mean, again, I got home Sunday from being gone for 3 days, and there were 32 ballots I had to watch. It was like 3.5 hours later that I finally finished. And that's a lot, it's a lot of time. And again, I did this to myself. I have no one to blame but me. So not necessarily a complaint, just
oh man, Mike, you're gonna get it now.
Well, not everybody can do a Dave Blue Jacket 66 with softcore porn on it.
Dude, tell me that what Mike did to create the retelling of Snoop's rant video was not awesome.
Legendary.
I mean,
I'll give you my hot take. So get some of the heat off of you, Mike. I'll take some heat here. So obviously, I'm friends with quite a few guys that are involved in that whole thing, Bob being one of them. So when they first told me they're going to do this, I was like, after Garrett's situation just a week ago, I don't know if this is a good time to do that right now. So I was like not really up on that because it was pretty, polarizing, I guess, or like it was pretty matter of fact what Snoop did. regardless if you agree with it or not, it is what it is. So when I watched that video on Saturday, I think Mark told me about it. He's like, "Hey, that video's live now." I really wanted to be like, this is not a good idea, but I want to watch it to see. And like you said, it was literally the most epic thing I had ever seen in my entire life on YouTube. I mean,
So good.
it was so good. I mean, it may have replaced Mark's Nazi PSA video as the #1 video ever I've watched on YouTube.
That's a bold statement.
Well, yeah, it is a bold statement.
It was totally meant to, like, it wasn't like trying to reinforce his points, whatever.
Sure.
It was just meant to be like, this was an epic YouTube moment that we felt,
yes,
let's redo this. This would just be fun. It would just be funny. And then you watch Rick do his part, and I literally almost fell out of the chair laughing.
Wow.
Just the way
I watched the video at Sean Steele II's house. I was staying this last weekend at his house, and I was downstairs watching it while him and his wife were upstairs sleeping, and I was trying not to laugh so loud. When Rick got on there and started dropping the F-bombs, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is happening right now?"
He's in the chat.
Giving the finger in the camera.
He's in the chat. He's like, that video ruined my good guy image. No.
Right. I'm scared of him now.
Well, how about Alex Bowman, 53, was hilarious.
Yeah.
He got the best line, which was the bass boat.
He got the bass boat line. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And
but then Dave at the end, when he was like burning people to the ground, including himself and stuff and things, I mean, it was great.
Oh, I was laughing.
Dave on the open mic.
Laughing so hard.
You never know what will happen.
Oh, Big D missed that video. Scott missed it.
Well, stop watching this and
stop watching this and go straight over to it.
The channel is Canadian Cards. It's Mike, and it's a whole bunch of different guys. I don't know what 10, 12 guys. I don't know how many.
Yeah, there's 12 guys in there.
Lou Rock was in it. He was hilarious. I'm surprised he didn't start his part. Hello, beautiful people.
He had so much. He's got so much swag.
He does.
Yeah, it was definitely an epic proportion. That's for sure. So let me ask you this, Mike. I did want to ask. You kind of mentioned this morning, and that is like a two-part question. You obviously said it's a lot of work doing what you're doing here. Obviously, you're a husband, a father. You work full-time. Plus, you have your own channel. Are you going to continue to do this moving forward, or you feel like this is pretty much, the last hurrah? And to piggyback that, if you choose to continue to move forward, do you think it's a good idea to change the rules to make it different by next year? So maybe it makes it easier for you, or to have people understand like it's not going to be the same thing?
Well, all right. You asked. I always say I don't even tell white lies, because then you don't know what you're getting into. But my plan is to retire as the YouTube commissioner after this year. And
what? Okay, what?
It does not mean that I don't think the idea should continue. I look at it like, look, I've taken it kind of as far as I think I can in terms of, because if I changed it, it would be looked at, no matter what I mean, it would be perceived by some people incorrectly, and I don't want to deal with it. I think it'd be better in someone else's hands, taking it forward. They can, and think about when a company gets taken over by a new CEO, they expect changes. They expect some things to be changed. Sure. And then they could change it however they see fit. I've got a whole stack of patches. I can mail them. But my plan was, and I wasn't going to announce this till later because I didn't want it to be, but you asked me the direct question. I'm going to give you a direct answer, is for me to step away from it and just, I can help out and consult and whatever, but I just, I don't know. I think it's time for someone else to run with that baton a little while. But it does
kind of like a road commissioner stepping down, or like the Pope. They have their time and then they're done.
Like a what? I didn't hear it. You kind of broke up. Like a what commissioner?
Like the real baseball commissioner, or like the Pope. You know when to step down.
Well, again, I never thought this would go past 1 year, and here we are in the 4th year. And whoever, I don't care who does it. Like literally, do what you want with it. I'm kind of whatever. And I don't know. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. And it sounds like I'm whining. I'm not. I wouldn't have done it again this year if I didn't want to. I knew what it would take to make it be fair and get it out there and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. So I think my time is, I've done it long enough. So that's my plan.
So once this next week or two, whatever, it's finished or done with it, are you gonna like maybe do like a Knights of the Round Table and like christen someone else?
I honestly hadn't thought that far.
What if there's like 2 or 3 people that are like, I would like to continue your idea. Are you gonna have like a raffle?
Well, who?
All right, maybe like we could do like Fight Club.
Why?
Right.
Yeah. Number 1 rule of Fight Club: don't talk about Fight Club.
Exactly.
But I don't. Who am I to? Why do I get to choose? Why should I get? I mean, I don't know.
That's true. I mean, that's
because then
you could put it to the community vote, or
maybe you could do an unscientific poll.
I mean, there are some guys that the idea is to find someone that is maybe less, I don't know, polarizing. I thought about Cardi C, actually. I thought he'd be a great guy to do it.
Dude, he's like the second most polarizing person in the community.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I think he's.
I was like, oh, okay.
Like Chris, really? But he helped me in year 2. He helped me. He kind of was my Ernst and Young. He watched all the videos too and made sure I was getting it, like I wasn't missing anything.
Right.
Just because, again, I always tried to be transparent, and all the votes are going to, as soon as this is all over, like on Tuesday, whenever I announce the class, the spreadsheet's going on.
Has anybody voted for somebody that's already in? Has that happened again?
No.
Really? Wow.
It happened last year a lot.
Way to go, guys.
But I really don't. Someone's got to really want to do it. I'm telling you right now, whoever wants to do it needs to really want to do it. Because
I think we should reach out to Jab's family and have him do it.
Well, you know what? Okay, let's talk about that. That's a great topic. It is shocking to me that I think Jabs has like 1 vote, 2 votes. I think PSA Collector has a couple of votes. I think, and again, I told you guys, they can vote for whoever they want. I don't,
Sure.
And these channels have 25,000 subs. If they
Phil's
really
Pools
wanted to
got
get
any
in,
votes?
What's that?
Phil's Pools get any votes?
He has 1 so far.
Nice. He's
There you go, Bob.
He's gonna have 2. Spoiler alert.
But isn't that interesting that those and what you'll see a common thread on those channels is they don't interact a ton with who's watching. It's not that they're not. I'm not even saying they don't put out great content. I actually watch a lot of Phil's Polls videos, just because I can't afford to open a $25,000 box of Transcendent like he can.
And he's got that catchy opening.
Yeah,
Just dance all the time.
That doesn't mean that you're going to garner this kind of grassroots support, which is what kind of this community. Like, you got to admit, no matter which side of the community you're on, it's a pretty badass community. And there's a lot of great guys and a lot of dudes that genuinely care about each other and all their different little circles and whatnot, and within their areas of collecting. And when, again, Jason, you haven't experienced this yet, but when you go to the National, man, it is like all walls are just gone. There are none. There's no, oh, you hang out with this guy and you talk to this guy. All that just isn't even there. It's right, Bob. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And it's like, whoa. And I got to meet great guys like Scott, Big D for life, and Eloy the Goat, or Eloy the Goat. I was corrected this morning by Ground Chuck on his video. Eloy the Goat. Just guys that I would have never, not because they're not great guys. I just didn't, they weren't in my sphere of what I watched and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's a great melting pot of the community. And it's a sick environment. I can't even describe it. Bob can't describe it. You just have to go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As long as we have it in, I guess, July, August.
Let's hope so. I'm already booked.
I hope so too. Because I know that I'm supposed to be getting lots of free drinks from people, so I'm counting on it.
Jay's going to be all lit up.
Let me ask you though, Mike. So when you initially started this whole thing, and I know you kind of talked about it a little bit, did you imagine the type of participation that you're getting now, 4 years later, when you first started this? Because you were just saying you have channels that have 25,000 subs and all this crazy stuff, but there's a segment of the group of YouTube that do not watch those guys, and those guys don't watch us. So even though it maybe not you don't have thousands of people watching our videos and doing Hall of Fame ballots, can you imagine 140, like you said last year, people voting? Like, what was your thinking when you first did this, I guess?
Maybe 20 people, 50, I don't know. Again, I was naive when I started it. I don't know that if I knew what I know now, I would still done it. Because it's in concept, it's a great idea, right? The idea of it is good for the community. But no, 149 video ballots last year. That's a lot, you know, and there's even more and more channels there's guys that are voting for the first time this year. And like, there are some things I would change, and I was really hesitant on you asked me directly about the not doing it anymore. Again, not because I don't want the idea to continue. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all. As a matter of fact, but then I was like, oh, well, he quit because all his friends got in or whatever. It's like, no, that's not it at all. You know, I mean, I hope someone can take the ball and run with it, make it better, you know, however someone can make it better and get to even more areas because there's no real breaker. Like Snods is great. You know, these guys that aren't, I don't know why they don't get a lot of, it's not up to me. I'm not making people, you know, why aren't these other people getting votes? Why aren't Phil's polls or Jabs? Jabs could make one video and talk about it and he could get in the Hall of Fame. He probably doesn't care, and that's fine.
Right.
But I got a question for you, Jason. You really do. I think you deep down, I think you care. I think you'll be glad to get it. Like, you'll be honored to get in because it's your peers that are recognizing you. You have to admit that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying at the beginning, when somebody that you don't really correspond with a lot thinks enough of you or your channel to put you in or to mention your name, that says a lot. And you weren't on my last video, or you may not have watched it, but I spoke about it. Maybe you've had this experience yourself. When people have reached out to you, maybe through email or maybe even text or whatever, and how much they are appreciate what you're doing, and you don't really realize how much you can affect people in a positive way or a negative way. And what you say and how you do your business on your channel can be an opportunity to really help somebody. You might be going through something, or they were, just needed somebody to bring a little bit of happiness in their day. And you don't think about that. I don't think about that when you're showing your cards. You don't really have that mindset maybe. But when somebody reaches out to you like that, that's huge. And so, yeah, to answer your question, I mean, initially the first year or two, probably I wasn't that way. I was like, Mike, this is no good old boys club, and he's just in here to make him and his buddies get in. I'll be the first one to admit. I felt like the fix was in and all that jazz. But last year, I felt quite a bit different. Obviously, this year, I felt completely different. I mean, you may or may not know, but like about 6-7 months this year, I left YouTube ball cards. And I really did have like an epiphany. And so I've been trying to be more of a positive person on here and try to stay away from any unnecessary drama. And at least with people in the community, I still like to do my rant videos, but that's more about the, the game or the cards or whatnot. But it is cool. I agree. Anybody who says it's not is just lying, quite frankly. It's a human reaction that you want to be liked. It's anybody who says differently is just kidding themselves. So, sure, you don't want to look like you're just trying to get in because of this situation to make you like, or your channel look better or good, like Filmington. Like somehow you can wear it as a badge of honor. But it is cool when people genuinely like what you're doing and they think enough to put you out there. I mean, I think it's a cool thing that you did, Mike, and I don't know if we talked about this or whatever, but you did a Hobbypalooza. You could easily offer that out to multiple people, right? And they could have been like, I'm not doing that with you. And I would assume you'd be kind of like, wow, okay. Like, I guess I don't have anybody who wants to come along this journey with me, right?
Yeah, I filled up every slot in about 2 hours of text.
And that's a great feeling, right?
Well, yeah, I was like, okay. And it was great. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I think
a lot of work.
Well, sure. But it was meant to allow, and what was really cool about Hobbypalooza, which, oh, by the way, we're planning another one again in May. That it's kind of like a pre-national hype party, basically. But what was cool is so many channels had other guys. Like I had Bart and George, and on my stream when I did it, other people, it was more than just the channels that participated. It was all the channels that they got to participate with them too. It was way bigger than just whatever the lineup was, which I thought was cool. But yeah, to be able to do that and literally just, hey, I've got this wild, crazy, and it was literally, I was like going, dude, I don't know if this is going to work. It's a crazy idea, and then people said, sure. And it was great. Yeah. So
just because I'm interested about this, I don't know if it was your brainchild or if it was over the other guys with your channel who you all worked on this together. But the way you kicked it off and the way it worked itself out with, like you said, multiple people in the community, was that the original concept just like that, or did it kind of organically evolve over the course of a couple of weeks, months, whatever?
No, it was, yes, it was my brainchild. Yes, it was meant to be, hey, we can't go to the national. This sucks. What else could we do? And where we all get to at least hang out. And because at the national, man, you're 24/7 cards and friends, and, you're drinking at night and you're at the show during the day, and it's nonstop, right? And which is, other than sleeping, you don't do much of that, and it's just a great time. I wanted that feeling, at least in some part, that we couldn't have. So, and then like some of the guys on bench, like Ty, I'm not afraid to say this, the talk from Ty and Jeff at the time was, well, we should host it all on Bench Clear, and I'm like, absolutely not, no way, it won't work. And it's not the right thing. We need to let's have everybody jump from channel to channel. How cool would that be to no, here's the lineup. You know, it's on a website. You can go see, and then you just, all right, who's next? Or I can't be on this one because I'm working or I'm doing whatever, but I can catch so and it's like having a TV guide. You know, you could know
awesome.
who's coming up, and okay, I don't want to miss that. And then what was great about the fact that I'm with Bench Clear is Ty and Jeff know so many people, and I mean, it's ridiculous, especially Ty. He is connected in the hobby, and he was able to get tops, and Panini was kind of a dumpster fire, but the top stuff was great. They were wanting to do several things, and I talked to Emily, the lady that ended up being on most of the things with Top. She was great. Yeah, we want to support this. This is great. This is a great idea, and gave us boxes to give away, and you know, so adding that, I guess, legitimacy to it also helped.
Sure.
In terms of getting the manufacturer involved. You know, we have even better ideas for the next one. We got some pushback a little bit because, you know, Jeff, the sports card investor guy, was doing the same. He thinks he wasn't doing the same thing we were doing. Ours was a community event. His was just a hobby event. If that there's a difference, right?
Dude, he was just trying to sell stuff.
Right. Including his, you know, his mask thing that his wife had developed or whatever.
Oh my goodness, that was a debacle.
But it was, if you think about it, it was kind of like the show. Like you can go to the show and then you have the after party. Like we were meant to be the hanging out part of, you know, and there were hundreds of people in every stream. It was ridiculous. Like you'd watch the streams and it'd get to 100 like that because everybody knew, all right, I'll see you over at so-and-so's channel in a minute, you know, and it was just this, it worked out great. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, that is super awesome. And obviously I missed the boat, but I did go back and watch a lot of it because people were telling me about it because it was going on when I had taken my sabbatical or whatever you want to call it. And I remember being very impressed with the amount of just coming together and working that through. I mean, because that's a lot of logistical nightmare stuff. And I think that it shows the kind of community we have, quite frankly.
Yeah, and it'd be like, okay, like Bob and Mark who were on it, which that's a whole nother funny story. But I'd go to a guy and I'd say, okay, when do you want? Here are the slots, right? Here's the lineup. When can you do it? You tell me, right? And I kind of worked this. I had to work the schedule, and basically, there were several of us that were like, I can do it whenever. So they were kind of my floaters. Like I must have had 4 different spots throughout the week as I was planning it to where I was going to be. But some people, I can only do it at XYZ time. Okay, that's your time. That's when you'll do it. And so that was fun. And it was, you know, it was during a time when BD Kane's saying it right now. It wasn't fun in many people's lives at that point. We were still all pretty hunkered down, and we were all disappointed there was no national, and it sucked. And
I mean, I don't know if you all thought this, and you might not want to talk about it now because you have ideas and you kind of want to bring them on your own channel. But do you see an option for something like having an interview with some like Hall of Famers, possibly?
Like baseball Hall of Famers or football like
baseball, basketball, football, whoever.
Man, I've been trying to do that. We're trying to.
It's bedtime. I'll be right back. So
all right.
We're trying to do that, but it's been, you know, in the real world, 4,000 subs or whatever is not that big a deal. And they go, who are you again? You know, we're nothing really. And we have no real pull. And so that's been, I'd love to do it. Right. Who wouldn't? I mean, good grief. So yeah, that'd be super cool, but I don't know that that's in the cards, honestly. If you know anyone, come on.
Sure. I'll reach out to my contacts and we'll see what we can do.
Yep.
With
a lot of
that being said, go ahead.
No, there's just a lot of great comments coming in.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I saw BF Golf was in here. Yeah, there he is. So, what's the one thing you're not looking forward to, Mike, in 2021? hobby wise.
Paying exorbitant prices for Don Sutton cards.
I know that's like an inside joke between me and you, kind of, and a few people know about that. But I do think that was like one of my most epic statements I ever made, because, you know, only a few people would catch that. And I mean, obviously we can laugh about it now. And I mean, you were a good sport about it and all that. And then you're exactly right. His prices might have actually went up because of what has happened.
Well, all of it has. I mean, I mean, I'm genuinely, it's not that I don't like cards to be worth money. That, you know, that's not, I'm not trying to sit here and say I don't care completely. But if everything was $1, great. Fine. You know, I just love the cards. I love getting a whole player run, you know, and seeing all of them together and all the years and the colors and the reading the backs, and just, it's a great hobby. Right. And
of course.
So
is there a player run that you would like to do in 2021 that you haven't completed yet?
Yeah. I want to finish Yastrzemski. I only need a couple of his. I'd love to finish Roberto Clemente, but again, his prices have just literally gone through the roof for even low grade stuff, which is, again, fine by me. But because we all have, you know, there's only so much money. I can't, I'm not Nat Turner or anything, you know,
or Ted Turner
but Yastrzemski, Nolan Ryan, actually, I'm still missing a couple of Topps cards for him. I'm trying to think who else. There's several that I put on my kind of Koufax. I'll never finish Mandel, so that's not even, because I won't ever have a 52 Topps. But there's a lot. I mean, there's so many, right? And there's literally so many. But I love I love that I made a project for myself that was A, incredibly challenging, B, most people won't even care about a, you know, 1976 Frank Robinson card, but I do. And
sure, yeah,
you know, and that's fine. But I gave myself this giant project that I thought this is going to be like a decade-long project, and it probably still will be. But I'm enjoying the hunt. The hunt's the fun part, right? Looking for the cards. And so Mike, need me to hang on to your Mandels for you. Thanks, Sean, but I'm good. Sean.
Yeah, of course, Sean would say something like that.
Sean's been here. He's been to my house.
I know. I think he has a couple of mementos that he got from you too.
5-finger discount. He had a little 5-finger discount. God, who else? I mean, Hank Aaron. I'm glad I'm done with Hank Aaron, right? Because that would have been not cheap anymore. But I did a video where I think the conclusion I came to, and Mark even mentioned it on their podcast today, that when someone dies, there's a spike initially on their cards, but it doesn't last very long. Quite frankly, I was surprised, and I thought it would be longer lasting, I guess, that effect. And the research I did was like, no, it's pretty quick. It goes kind of back, maybe at a little higher than it was before, but it's not at this spiked level, this reactionary level. But that's not true for autographs. Autographs go up and stay up. Like Hank Aaron stuff will never be cheaper than it was 2 weeks ago or whatever on autographs.
So do you really think like a Hank Aaron cards will not stay high?
High, yes, I mean, but not as high as they might have been the last few days, if that makes, like, there's about a week where it just really nuts, and then it settles back down to, again, maybe higher than it was pre-passing away, but not necessarily where it was in the frenzy. There's this frenzy, you know, that happens after somebody passes away. Oh, bye, Jason. Oh, hi. Wait, Bob, what are you sorting? Everybody wants to know what you're sorting. You're
Me?
no, Bob's muted. You muted yourself, Bob.
I did a big pack break video with my dad the other day, so I'm going through all that stuff. Yeah.
You and the dude.
Me and the dude. Hey, and speaking of that, I gotta call the dude. I think he's got to ride me out to work right now, so I can get a work truck for tomorrow, which I completely forgot about. So he's gonna be real happy when he gets this call. So,
All right, you're out of here.
I gotta go. I'm sorry. You guys will be behaving. This seems pretty civil.
Why'd you expect anything
Please
different?
continue.
Why did you expect anything different?
I didn't.
Yeah,
I think you guys are so beyond that. Oh, you brought me my blanket. Thanks, honey.
Well, make sure you tell Mr. Lewis I said hey.
Yeah, I will. If he's still awake, that means I gotta wake him up, or my mom has to take me. So we're gonna see how much they love their son right now.
Have fun with that.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that.
Guys. We'll be in touch.
All right, see you, brother.
Hall of Fame video coming.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, you got Jazz family and Phil's pools on there.
Just wait. Thank you.
All right.
Later.
See ya.
So I guess I wanted to just follow up with that you were talking about. Do you see what's the word I'm looking for? An end, a ceiling for some of these prices? Has nothing to do with them dying or not. Just everybody was saying last year was that vintage would eventually come down, but modern was going to go through the roof, and there was really no ceiling. But here we are, essentially in February, and that did not actually happen. And actually, I don't see an end in it anytime soon.
I don't know that it'll end soon. It will end. I don't know this year, next year. And I don't even know that I'd call it a bubble, as Gary just said. There's just demand is there. But I don't think here's the thing. I don't think there's a lot of the people like us and the people, we're collectors, right? I mean, I don't mind that my cards are going up in value. It just sucks on the buying end. Don Newcomb.
Yeah, buddy.
I'll give a plug, actually. I think live now on our channel, I just did a Golden Age of Cardboard podcast with Aaron Davis talking about the Negro Leagues, and Don Newcomb was talked about a lot. And awesome. Aaron's unbelievably awesome. His knowledge and passion about that was great to talk to him. I just loved listening to him and talking to him about it. It was great. So,
well, I think he gets you passionate about it too. What you say, like he loves it so much that you just feel drawn to that.
Absolutely. Wow.
Right.
But I forgot what we were just talking about.
Talking about the
you distracted me with
price of vintage and really having a ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a ceiling. I just don't know where it is. And it's until the big money stops, you know, the people putting $10 million in a fund to go buy high-end cards or whatever. That is happening. I'm telling you that is happening. And till that stops, I don't know where the end of that is, but there's no reason a card, you know, certain cards should be worth what they're worth. It doesn't make any bloody sense. I don't know. I wish I had a better, straighter answer for you, Jason. I just don't.
But as a collector, I know you don't really sell. I think you had a hot minute this year that you kind of talked a little bit about selling and all that, but then you moved away from that. See, I watch your videos. I pay attention. Thank you. But since you're not a seller, you're a collector. I'm a collector. I don't really sell. How much does it change your approach? Because a lot of times people buy, but they sell the things that they don't have much use for or can let go and use those funds to get the big dogs, to get the white whales. You're telling me, and we all know that that's not really your approach. So how do you juggle getting cards that are really hard to get without breaking the bank, because now the prices are getting astronomical.
So as I would want a normal XYZ card, I'd want it in this grade. Now I buy this grade, right? I buy, if I wanted a 7, now I'm getting 4s and 5s. And
Right.
so, and I'm fine. Again, perfectly content with that. And the reason I actually entertained the hot minute of selling, was I'm thinking, am I being irresponsible by not selling? Like I mean, how much is enough, right? At what point is this just like, we all have a number. Any collector that says they don't have a number for what they sell their cards for is lying. We all do.
Right.
I have a number. If someone walked in right now and said, I'm going to give you that number, I would sell everything in here. Now it's a big number, but I have a number, and it's, you know what I mean? Like there's a number for everything. And I was
the $1 million man said it best. Everybody has a price.
That's right. And if someone paid my price, I wouldn't necessarily like it, and it doesn't mean I would stop. Well, maybe it depends on how big the number was, but I'm just saying that at some point I was thinking, God, are these cards getting to where it would be dumb for me not to sell them? And that's what kind of got me on that thought. And then my wife, actually, Julie, was like, why? I mean, we don't need the money. Like if I needed the money, I'd sell if my family needed it or whatever, I'd sell everything in a heartbeat and not think twice. But do we need the money? No. But her point was, Mike, you've loved this for 40 years. Why? Because I was like, Julie, I think I need to sell I need to sell this stuff. The prices are nuts and this and that. And she talked me out of it. Which was surprising, honestly. Right. But she just thought about it much more rationally than I was in the emotional moment of it, kind of processing through that idea. And if it's kind of one of those, if you're a collector like we are, and you missed your boat, everything went down. I'm going to be like, so what? Okay.
So what? Yeah.
I wish I had cards that I wanted to. I only buy stuff that I want for my. I mean, I don't buy. Well, now that's not. I did buy some LeBron James rookies that I literally flipped. But that was just a deal that I went in with some guys and we did it together because I'm not a basketball guy, but I agree with the greatness of LeBron. So anyway, literally one deal I've done like that. And I did try to flip a couple of, but here's the thing with Project 2020. Remember last year I did a Project 2020. I got a couple of cards because I liked them. And then they went like I paid $15. They went to like 400. I'm like, I'm an idiot if I don't sell these. Like I'm a moron if I don't sell these. Like this is just stupid.
Right.
That they're worth that. Well, I got burned on one. The guy returned it on me. The old putting in he put the eBay reason was card not as described, and he told eBay that it had a scratch on it. It came back pristine, like it was perfect. I'm like, you lying sack of shit. But
right.
But I was going to use those funds to buy cards, and I did. I spent the money actually then I got the refund. I'm like, oh well, that wasn't expected. But I was going to buy stuff I really want, vintage stuff, and that I think the Project 2020 cards were, they were cool at $15. They're not as cool at they're not that cool at 400, right? I just don't feel that way about vintage. I don't go, although again, my brain was going there like, hey, as cool as I think this card is it not stupid for me not to sell it with what things are going for? Now that's even more than that was 4 or 5 months ago. I was thinking that, and now things are even more crazy than they were. Myco, that lying sack of shit. Yeah, we've all had that, and it sucks when somebody does that to you because you're like, really, dude? Anyway, so
let me ask you this, because I've been watching your videos since the beginning, like we talked about at the beginning of this video, and I know that initially, the first couple of years until recently, you kind of prided yourself in getting high graded cards. That was kind of your thing. You talked about it frequently. And it was something that you were happy to show that if it was like Roberto Clemente was in the 60s, if you had it in an 8, you would say, hey, I got this in an 8 or whatever. Now you're talking about, because the pricing is getting ridiculous, you're okay with a 4, even though the car might be a 50s card or whatever. Are you doing that because you have to do that? Or because you really feel like, you know, I'm okay with getting those lower grades? Or is this because it's necessity?
Well, both, I guess. I mean, I love every card in an 8 or a 9? Sure. Right.
We all do.
But if there's only so much money, and no matter what your budget is, we all have a budget. Like some people, it's less than others. That doesn't matter. Everybody, I can't spend an unlimited amount on cards. And so I have to go, look, I want this card. And my list is so long that I go, all right, it's either buy 1 card a month at some high grade, or I'm more of I do love, and people say this, I'd rather have quality than quantity. Sure. But I'd rather have a quantity of quality, but those things don't mix in the pricing world that we're in. Right. So it's forced me to accept that reality, and I'm okay. I'm totally at peace. So I don't care. I want a cool Roberto Clemente card. Right. And I wish I could buy an 8, but I can't because I've been priced out of it. So a 4 will have to do, or whatever budget I set for that card, you know. We all have to do it.
Let me ask you this. You may have spoken about this at some point in time. Everybody asks about the most money you ever spent on a card. I think some of you guys have spent big money on cards. What has been your best deal you've ever gotten? Like a card that could go for thousands and you stumbled upon it for a couple of $100 or whatever. Have you ever had one of those like, oh my gosh moments? Like, I cannot believe I got this at this price.
2 stories come to mind. I bought the Luka Doncic Prism rookie in a 9 at the National in Chicago for $15. And that's now a $700 card. Probably $700 at the height. It's probably about $600 now, which is like, okay. And I tried to sell it, and it didn't. I put a really stupid, I put my stupid number on it. Like I talked about it a second. Everybody has a number. I put a stupid number on it. Nobody bought it, so I didn't sell it. I still have it. And, but then, so there was that one. And then, my Mike Trout rookie, I literally found in a box rummaging through some stuff. And then I had another YouTuber give me another one this was before the Trout rookie went, bananas, and it was raw. And I took both of them to the National. So I literally had the cost of grading $50 into the card, and then I took that along with and then I got a 9 and a 4 or 9 and a 6 or something, like 9 and a 6. And I took those 2 graded cards and I traded them for a PSA 10. So with $50 that I borrowed from Eric, because I was out of money. This was the last day and I was literally broke. I borrowed $50 from Eric, $50 in those 2 cards for a PSA 10. So I had maybe, let's say, $100 into that Trout rookie, and it's now worth whatever it is, which is great. Those are, again, I don't care that I don't care that it's worth $3,500. I'm glad it is. That no sound counter, like it sounds like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but I'm glad it is. But I wouldn't pay $3,500 for one now. So I'm glad I have one, I don't know. What about you? Any good stories?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you have any good stories like that? I was going to say.
I mean, everybody knows about my SP boxes I got Upper Deck from 1993. Those are pretty epic, I guess you could say. Nothing crazy, because I don't really grade. I'm just now starting to grade after all these years of fighting it. And you're one of the first ones to admit it. I don't want to admit it. It has nothing to do with me at the time not being your biggest fan. Just anybody was saying it just looks so good, graded. Just look at it. It just, it's just it's a different experience when you have it graded. It's like little pieces of artwork framed and all the stuff that you and other people would say. And I'm like, no way. But here I am, graded card. It's just like buying. I've got my first order I sent in a couple months ago. I finally got it back. I got 2 orders out right now. You'll be happy. But one of my orders is nothing but vintage, so it'll be a big vintage order. And
do you think they look better graded or no after having them?
Yes, and I mean, it's kind of like you were saying before. I think people, and I think unfortunately because people again can't let the past go with you specifically, but like they can't let things that you say be true because they don't like you maybe as a reason. And I think that has something to do with my own personal issues, is that sometimes people are right, they're just right. And it's hard for you to look past that because you want to say that person's wrong, or I don't want to admit to it. And I think that's a hard thing for people sometimes to do because it's called pride. You can't put your pride away to agree that certain things that people might say or do might not be all that crazy. And so, yeah, I agree. I love it. And I actually, I don't know if you said this or someone else said it, might be a combination of a couple of people, but, you can't take it with you. So what do? You can leave it all in a box that your wife and kids will never really know completely what it is. But if it's graded, they're going to be able to get that money for it. There's not going to be a person that can come in like a thief in the night and tell you that box of cards that's $80,000 is about $800 and take it from you. All that hard work you did over the years trying to put that together. So for me, it's the long game.
Wait till you get those. I'm excited to see you get these vintage cards back because no matter what grades they are, first of all, you shouldn't care. You're gonna look at them and you're like, man, this is awesome. Whatever, and it's protected, it's safe, it's whatever whoever gives a shit what the assigned grade is. I mean, good grief, the guy was having a good day, bad day, who knows? But
and it's a part of it's just fun, you enjoy it.
Yeah,
and it's like for me. It's like the idea, and I know you don't really, maybe I'm wrong. I know you buy graded, but you send a lot of stuff in to get graded, or you already buy it graded?
I do both. I have some stuff with like JT right now on a group submission, but it's more stuff that I can't find graded, if that makes like nobody grades the shit that I grade because who cares about an Adrian Beltre base tops card that I just want it graded because it's for me, and nobody else cares. So that's the kind of stuff I'll typically send in, or I'll do the math. Like there was a card, like it's $15 to grade a card, right? And I may have a raw one, but I'm like, I can find a PSA 9, let's say, of a more modern day card for $12. Well, why would I send in my raw one when I can just buy? I don't know that mine's going to get a 10. So in fact, I'd be shocked. I'm a terrible judgment of what the grade should be when I'm looking at a raw card. I am terrible at it. So I'll just buy the 9 for $12 plus some shipping, and I don't have to wait 6 months or whatever. And I know what I'm getting versus raw. You don't know what you're going to get back. Like Sean got his Trout rookie back, right? And it was a 6, I think. Is that right? He showed it just the other day on his video.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe a 4, I'm thinking.
He can, if he's in here, he can put it on there.
Yeah.
Don't be so dramatic, Mike. Someone else does care. I cared when you slabbed Pedro Philly's tops cards. I did do that. I did slab Pedro. Because there weren't any, I couldn't find any out there. And so that's when I'll grade my own when I can't find them. Like me, do you know Christian Striker Cards? Do you know who he is? He's doing the that cockamamie last card of every Hall of Famer. And
oh yeah, okay.
Again, I have my reasons why I love that set and why I kind of did it, but he's doing it too, and he would buy raw versions and send them in, and like I had to send in several of each player of these, you know, the Don Sutton last or whoever, you know, these Dennis Eckersley or these guys that you just don't find their you find their rookie cards graded a lot or early cards or whatever. So we would send those in, and you know, he did that and sent me some that he got doubles of and that I didn't have yet, or what, you know, this community's just, well, we both love it. We both love it. There's just no other way to say it.
Well, hey man, I want to respect your time, Mike. We've been at it for about an hour and doing an hour and a half. I know it's what, 9 or 8, almost 9 o'clock your time, I guess. So
hey, look,
I really appreciate it. I just wanted to end with saying that hopefully people see this video. I'm sure it'll be spoken through the interwebs over the next couple of days. But I wanted to say thanks to Mike for coming out and taking my silly, half-hearted meme I sent to you or whatever, trying to be funny and, you know, snowball this into a conversation that we can have. And I wanted to say publicly, you know, I'm going to bury the hatchet with you. We're cool. Everything's kosher. I don't have no problems. And hopefully, you know, we can just move forward, not just for each other, but everybody in the community can kind of see, like, hey, you know, it's good to move forward and try to be like, you know, support one another and each other's channels instead of trying to find ways to tear each other down.
Yeah. If you learn anything from this stream, you can find common ground with anybody. You just got to look.
Sure.
Don't be so hard headed. Not that I'm not talking about Jason, but just people out there that may, hey, look, it's the next commissioner of the YouTube Hall of Fame. It's Cardi.
Yeah, he heard you talk about him, and then he was like, "Oh, I better show up."
Right. Just we can all get along. There's no reason to be. I promise you, whatever you think about someone is likely not true. So, and
well,
I appreciate, genuinely, Jason, I do appreciate you having me on. And
yeah, sure, sir.
I looked at what you did this morning as an olive branch, and you notice I stepped right up and said, you know, hey, let's deal with it. And I knew that you weren't doing it just to be, you know, just to try to start something. It was, I knew you were genuine. I knew you were genuine. And so this was a fun conversation. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate it. We'll do it again sometime. Hey, I know I like, you got a who's who, man, on your live streams all the time. So I would just be a fly on the wall. But I like watching you do that stuff. We'll definitely get on here and maybe do another one where we got a couple other guys, and it'll be fun, I'm sure. I think you offer, obviously, you know, a lot to the community, and it'll be fun to have that conversation. All right. I'd love to. Let me know. Man, thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Thanks again, Mike. All right, buddy. See you later. All right, see ya. All right, bye.